All right. So in today's podcast, we are having on Sam Sobey. Many of you guys would have seen him from YouTube. If you do not know him, he is a young gentleman from the Minnesota area who does a lot of fishing, has a big presence on the YouTube game, travels around doing a whole bunch of different stuff. He's just actually coming up from, I believe it was Florida, where he was doing a bunch of shark fishing, saltwater fishing, canals for largemouth. He does a whole bunch of different stuff, anything from ice fishing to saltwater to tournaments to, whatever. The guy's very passionate about fishing. It's evident in his videos. That's what he prides himself on. And he's enjoyable to watch because while he is entertaining, he's humorous. He's got great friends that he fishes with. They're all hammers. Adam Bartusek, who we had on the podcast a few times, he's one of his buddies. You'll see him on Sam's YouTube videos. He still can teach a lot. You can learn a lot from him. That's one thing I obviously have spoken about on this podcast is learning, being informative. He has a great way of coming off as an entertaining but as an informative YouTuber. You can learn a lot if you pay attention. So I'm excited to have him on, talk about a bunch of different things, and hope you guys enjoy. Let's get to it. All right, there he is. Sam Sobey, what's going on, man?
What's up, dude?
You ready or what?
I'm ready. Can you hear me good?
I can hear you. We got you.
I apologize. I don't have the Skype dialed in, but I hope the phone call's okay.
Oh, it's 100% okay, dude. Not a big deal. I do this a lot with some of the guys that are on the the Elite Series and MLF, because they're traveling a lot, so they don't have time to sit down and Skype. So it is all good, my friend. How you doing?
Cool. I'm doing good, dude. Are you doing good?
I'm doing all right. New York's a little hectic, but it is what it is. How are things in Minnesota?
Things are good. Whereabouts are you in New York?
So I'm in Rochester, which is just near Buffalo, so it's not too bad. Everybody thinks New York, they think of New York City, so it's not too bad up here, but we just don't want it to creep up north.
I was gonna say, is Rochester considered like upstate New York?
Yeah, it's pretty much in the same pool as Buffalo.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's not too bad. We're staying, where we're at, like house wise, it's we're kind of technically out in the boonies, so it's kind of nice, but it's a 20-minute drive to the city where there's a little bit of chaos, but we're staying out of the way of everything.
Nice, that's good. Well, hopefully you kind of it kind of contains in the city there, and they just kind of stop it there before it gets to you.
Oh, 100%. No, I'm not trying to do that. My mother's one of those ones who are susceptible, so it's does not fly in this house.
Yeah, that's serious business, bro.
Oh, 100%. But how's things in Minnesota with that whole deal?
Things are good. I think as far as that whole deal goes, it's fairly contained in our state. There's not been too many deaths, and hopefully we kind of keep it that way too. But otherwise, it's been good. The weather's finally heating up. It's finally getting semi-nice here. It's Arctic cold, so I'm loving it. It's getting better.
Yeah, you guys seem to be creeping up on some open water. I've been paying attention. I know you were looking the other day on your story. I'd seen that on your Instagram. But Rich Lindgren has been posting about updates pretty much daily of ice fading away.
Right, it's so close to being fading away, and Wisconsin, which is our neighbor, obviously, they open up a catch and release season for bass and pike April 1st. So I know a bunch of dudes, even though we're trying to stay social distance, not supposed to travel much, I know a lot of dudes are going to creep over there to Wisconsin and take advantage of that. Do you guys have restrictions or seasons for bass in New York?
No, so that's what's kind of nice is we can fish for bass all year round, even if it's not season.
Dude, that makes me so mad because I talked to everybody. I was on a couple different podcasts, and a couple of the guys were from Ohio, and one was from Idaho, and all over. And obviously, you're from New York, and every one of them are like, "What do you mean seasons for bass?" I'm like, "That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying."
I know. I'm so surprised that Minnesota is one of the states that has that instated because you guys are one of the biggest outdoor states. When you come to think about a hunting, fishing,
right?
Overall, you think Minnesota, Michigan, that whole deal. It's kind of shocking to me.
And I totally understand. The way people fish for walleye and stuff like that, they're susceptible to really get beat on in the spring. But if you were to just open up pike and bass for catch and release only in Minnesota, I don't see why that would harm anything. I really don't. So Dang, that makes me jealous that you can literally go out your front doorstep tomorrow and go bass fishing.
Yeah, and especially with how many bodies of water you guys have.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, before we get more into that, how I like to start every podcast is, learning your story of kind of, how you got into fishing. So for everybody, listening, everybody watching, tell them a little bit about yourself and then, who got you into fishing and the whole story behind it.
Absolutely. Okay, before I start with that question, I'm going to fire a question at you.
Okay.
For listeners that are potentially new or brand new, because I got kind of like turned on to your content like a month ago. I want you to tell me where you're from and how long you've had this podcast going and what gave you the idea to start a podcast that kind of is revolved around fishing, outdoorsmen, and I guess just, fishing in general. Because I haven't heard this story of you yet.
Okay, I like it. Starting it off with a question for me. I haven't had that yet.
Absolutely.
So, essentially, I started this in the beginning of August. So I did an internship. I was out in Indiana working for the University of Notre Dame for an internship with their athletic department. And I knew I was going to be super busy. I wouldn't be able to actually fish too much. And essentially, I was helping my buddy before I left for Indiana. I was helping him repair some houses, do some housing construction, whatnot. And we were on break one day, and I was scrolling through my Instagram. I'm like telling him, like, dude, there's so many guys out there, guys and girls, that have these crazy cool, social media pages, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, what have you, that have crazy good content. But not many people see it, or like there's some big name that posts some stuff, but no one really kind of takes time to acknowledge it. So I was like, that'd be kind of like that's like crazy. He goes, dude, you should do a podcast. And like, I was like, at that point in time, I'm like, what the heck is a podcast? Like, I had no idea what it was. And so he like got me onto it. Started watching like Joe Rogan and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, this would be kind of cool. So he helped me set it up. And basically, it just started with taking guys that looked interesting, that seemed dedicated, seemed passionate about what they do, and just talking to them, listen to it. Because I love the next best thing to fishing is talking fishing. So it's
absolutely
to get guys on and learn about their story. It's pretty much it's kind of like doc talk, but you can do whenever you want and with people all over the country, all over the world. So I was like, okay, and then pretty much just kept up with it and stuck with it. And now this will be episode 59. So we're
dang, dude.
Yeah, so we're getting there.
Dang. Okay, so and I want you to answer one more question before I jump into it. It's like, this is like for me too. I'm wondering this. Anybody who's interested in starting a podcast, what do you need? Like, what's the bare bones that you need to start a podcast? Because I'd like to potentially start one of my own, and I have a couple buddies that'd like to start one. Like, what's your setup, and like, is it kind of, fairly inexpensive to get into if you wanted to buy the bare bones stuff?
Oh, dude, 100%. I mean, essentially, if you want to go bare bones, like, if you want to, I guess it really kind of depends how long you want to go.
Sure.
Like, if you're going to do, like, 15, 20-minute stuff, you could probably just simply use your iPhone, and then you use the Anchor app, which is what I use, and it kind of converts everything for you, and it literally, you post it to Anchor, and it disperses it to 9 other applications for you. So it's super easy. Like, you don't have to do anything besides post it to Anchor, which is a simple file upload, pretty much like uploading to YouTube. Essentially, just it's a media, it's an MP3 file over a video. But if you have like a computer that has a webcam, if you want to do like essentially what I do is where I talk to other people every podcast. You could do something as simple as Skype because you can record from Skype. So
totally.
So simple as that, or if you want to do it on your own. Trying to think of a good application. I have what's called XSplit.
Probably the deal. You would definitely say, like, once you have that MP4 file or MP3 file, like Anchor is the easiest way to kind of like project those files onto all those different platforms.
100%.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super easy. When you download it, it's like it might look kind of confusing at first, but once you just have your video or your files in an MP3 format, super easy.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Everybody can do it. I want to see more podcasts showing up. I love it. It gives me something to listen to and makes my workday go by a lot faster.
Totally. And like what's crazy to me is like fishermen are born for podcast,
Oh my
100%.
god! Oh
Like,
my god!
we're
Yeah.
all bullshitters. We all have fish stories. We all have, like, we're always just, like, ready to tell the next story or one up our buddies. Like, we literally have been born for podcasts since our inception. And, like, I feel like fishing podcasts really haven't, like, hit the scene up until, like, maybe a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I think really that the pioneers for it in the fishing realm has been what, maybe Bass University, Ike
Yeah.
Live, stuff like
I
that.
think so, yeah, them. I don't know how long has, like, Bass Talk Live been on? I don't know. Those are good podcasts, too.
That's
Good
true.
podcasts.
Very true. Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's ones that are kind of fly under the radar that are really good.
Totally.
Yeah, but pretty much you can find anything with podcasts now. It's kind of blowing up, which is pretty cool because, I mean, at least for me, every time I'm driving now, I don't really listen to my Spotify music anymore. If I'm using Spotify, it's going to be my podcast.
Right?
Stuff
Like,
that.
Spotify's good if I'm going down the road and I just want to, like, listen to a quick song, like Spotify music. But, like, a podcast, if there's a trip that's, like, over an hour long, boom, podcast on,
Oh, yeah.
fly by. Like,
So
get
much,
lost. It's super cool.
so much easier. Yeah, your 10-hour drive became like 3.
Totally, dude. Totally.
100%. Yeah, so let's to get into it, man. If you don't have any more questions, let's hear your story.
Absolutely. Okay, so your first question was how I got into fishing initially.
Yeah, so like who got you, who introduced you, what's the story of your first time fishing?
Totally. Okay, well, first and foremost, maybe you did or maybe you didn't. I'll introduce myself. My name is Sam Sobey. I'm from Minnesota, just kind of a Midwest boy. I love fishing. I love filming. I love turning bass fishing. I love hunting. I love anything in the outdoors. And I guess kind of who got me into fishing would probably be, like, my mom and my dad probably initially, like, got me into fishing, like, just the original putting a worm on a bobber, tossing out there, catching sunfish. And that's, like, I mean, that's awesome. You know what I mean? If you have somebody that gets you into fishing early when you're young, then you kind of take it upon yourself if you're super into it. And then as far as getting into bass fishing more like in the tournament scene, or I guess just really kind of exploring different baits and different techniques to catch fish, that would be like my buddies. Like, I film a lot of videos, like my good buddy Brock.
Yep.
Like, we kind of just learned together. We read a lot of Bassmaster magazines. We watched everything on Sunday morning TV, and we just dicked off a lot in the boat and on the shore, and we just kind of learned together. So I'd credit who got me into fishing, my mom and dad, but I'd credit who pushed me to fish different and learn more would be like my buddy B-Rock and Adam Bartushik and all my other buddies kind of from high school.
Yeah, I like that. I kind of like how you put that into perspective, where it started and then kind of the longevity of it.
Yeah, because, like, my parents aren't into, like, like, they took me fishing, but they're not, like, into fishing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That just kind of, they're the gateway for you to get introduced to the outdoors.
Totally, and that's all it takes, you know what I mean? Because, like, if you introduce somebody in the outdoors or fishing and they like it, then it's like, man, if you like something, you're going to take it upon yourself and take it to the next level or get more into it. So that's kind of how that went down.
Oh, 100%. That's awesome. And it's cool because one of the reasons, I guess I can speak for a big majority of why people love your channel is because, you don't just stick to one thing. You don't just sit there and bass fish. You ice fish for different species. You do hunting videos. You were just down south, fishing it was Florida, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. You were doing saltwater stuff. You were doing canals, for largemouth, and it's such a diversity there. So, when you see an upload from Sam Sobey, you're like, all right, what's this time? What are we going to expect here? That's what's pretty cool about it.
Thank you so much for saying that. I truly appreciate it. And that's not just for the channel. That's not for the videos. Like, me and my buddies, that's been our whole upbringing. And I think that's the cool thing about at least being from the Midwest is, like, we really do truly have 4 seasons. We have spring, we have a short summer, we have fall, and then we've got a decently long winter. So, like, if you're not on your toes, changing what you're fishing for with the conditions, like, you're not going to fish, you know what I mean? Because as soon as ice comes around, it's like, all right, bass fishing is over. What am I going to do? So you definitely need to get into ice fishing and all those other activities, which are a freaking blast as soon as you get into them. So.
Oh, I think your state was the only state that had a true winter.
Right? I feel like even like in Iowa and places that aren't that farther south than me, like they kind of had a mild winter.
Yeah. Yeah, we had maybe a month of safe ice.
Really? That's what I was going to ask you. Like, how much ice did you have?
Usually we get a 3.5, 4 months, and it was really quick. I mean, I was out in the kayak catching bass in the middle of January.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, if that's a testament.
Like what? I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Like, oh shucks,
Yeah.
that stinks for you. That's honestly cool though. Like, how much ice did you get this year opposed to what you normally get?
Oh, geez. I mean, I actually was. This was technically my first season of ice fishing, of really getting into it. Just because
Nice.
I was a big hockey kid, so that's like that's crunch time is dead of winter.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get a chance to get fully into it. But I mean, most of our lakes had 4 to 6 inches, so it's
Nice, which is plenty of safe ice.
yeah, nothing too crazy. But there was definitely a lot of times where people were posting about being out on sketchy ice, and we had a bunch of people fall through, and some snowmobiles had to be retrieved, and
Dang.
crazy stuff like that. But just kids
What
being kids.
is I know so little about the fishing in New York, and that's just like a section of the United States. Like, I really haven't fished much, and I'd love to. So, like, as far as ice fishing goes, like, is there a lot of good lakes around there with like panfish, like crappies, sunnies, or is it mainly pike, or is it mainly bass? I guess what's kind of the fisheries like when it comes to winter fishing in New York?
Oh man, dude, all the above. I mean,
Nice.
on Adam's podcast when he came on with me, we spoke about fishing New York because he really wants to come fish Cayuga and Oneida.
Yes,
And
likewise.
yeah, and we were talking about the different things that New York has, and essentially with the Finger Lakes, we'll start there. Is they're big glacier lakes, so there's all they are is bowls of grass. Um, so naturally, kind of trying to find fish, it can be kind of difficult, especially ice fishing, because they don't have a lot to relate to. So you kind of just you're doing your best at like a looking at the map contours and trying to think of what could be there, and especially if you're a local and of like man-made brush piles and rock piles, then obviously
Totally.
that's where you're gonna go. But it's a good mix. You see a lot of guys that go out and you can target one species and you can target them, but like you're still gonna run into 2 or 3 other species along the way. So it's pretty interesting, and like right now for us, we have it from Rochester. From my standpoint, I can go 30 minutes north and fish Lake Ontario for giant smallmouth, or I
Oh
can
my
go
god.
around the Finger Lakes around me because all the largemouth are moving up shallow. We're hitting the 40s for water temps, and then I can go an hour west and I have Lake Erie, 3 4 hours north, and I can hit the St. Lawrence and Champlain. So we're pretty spoiled over here.
So as far as like obviously like Lake Ontario and stuff is a world class smallmouth fishery, but the Finger Lakes, is that more like largemouth driven?
It's a happy medium of both.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of like a shift where it's like early season it's more of a smallmouth game. Like right now it's a lot of smallmouth, but you can still get on some a lot of the females. Actually, it's weird. A lot of the female largemouth move up, and you can catch them in 1 to 3 foot right now, and the water's only it's less than 45 degrees. So you can get on it's a lot of smallmouth. As soon as the ice is out, and then like right now it's a happy mix of both. And then once spawn comes for the smallmouth and they're gone, you pretty much it's hard to catch them in the Finger Lakes. Unless because all they do is they hug that the thermocline. They don't really relate to anything, and they just swim around the whole time. I don't know if
They're
you.
almost like pelagic, like they're just roaming for bait.
Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you ever watched Benjamin Nowak's video of him and Alex Rudd using Panoptics and just chasing smallmouth around the lake with it. That's essentially the same thing that happens in all the Finger Lakes here.
Wow. So what's the main forage base out there in the Finger Lakes? Is it like bluegill or is it more shad?
So we've had like we have a lot of what the heck is it called? I'm blanking on the name right now.
Do you have gobies?
In Ontario and Erie we do. Oneida has a little bit, not too much. I'm trying to remember the name. It's blanking on me now. I can remember any other day until now. But basically we had a die off of this species of shad, and really if you can perch is a huge forage right now, especially for the smallmouth.
Okay.
So like it was evident when my buddy and I went out a couple weeks ago, and he was throwing like a silver flashy, like a shad imitant blade bait, and I was throwing a perch colored blade bait, and I was getting double the amount of bites he was, and it was all smallmouth. Where he was catching, Lakers and kind of more of a multi-species, where I was really honing in the smallmouth. But the largemouth loved the bluegill. So that's
sick.
But yeah, I'll have to remember the name of the actual species that is that we have here of shad that is usually good, but I don't know why I'm blanking on it right now.
You'll think of it later, and I think that's so cool as far as like becoming a better angler or just like testing your skills. Like in New York, it seems like you have a happy medium, obviously, of largemouth and smallmouth, but like when the largemouth are keying in more on bluegills, and you've got smallies that maybe key in more on shad, and then like they hug the thermocline, like it seems like anybody kind of in the north, you have to be pretty diverse. It's not like
oh yeah, everything changes, and like last year was last summer especially was incredibly different than any other summers because we had like 2 weeks where it got really hot really early temperature wise, so all of our grass grew and then it dropped below freezing again and killed all of it, so we didn't have any grass for the summer. So if you found like there was patches where it might have been 10 to 20 foot, and there might have been only 3 or 4 patches around the whole lake, you're going to find majority of those fish congregating around those patches. That's where 4 to 5 boats were just cycling around every single day, and it was really tough. We had like our weekly nighter tournaments that are a 3-fish deal go from 13 pounds for 3 fish to go to 8-9 pounds, which is a huge deficit.
Yeah. Dang. What kind of grass do you have? Do you have more like milfoil or coontail or cabbage or?
That's a lot of milfoil.
Milfoil, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Same here.
Oneida, you do get a lot of eelgrass, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
That's always fun to fish.
Dude, I gotta get out there. I seriously have to get out there.
It's, man, especially like right now. Oh, I just remember the name. It's alewives. That's that's what we got. We do have some lakes have some rainbow smelt too. If you get into those, we have some lakes out here where there's the Lakers will chase us around, and you'll see in a school of them, guys that especially troll for Lakers, they'll catch a bunch of giant smallmouth because those smallmouth will travel in packs with the lake trout.
No way.
It's unlike anything else, man. It's a fun fishery for New York.
So would you say, like, if I wanted to travel to New York, like, the best time of year to do it would be the spring? Or do you think the fall?
Like, literally in a couple weeks. The fall is a blast, too. It depends on, what body of, like, what species especially you want to go for. If you want, fatter smallmouth, then the fall. But if you want to drop a dirty 30 in New York, in a couple weeks, come to Cayuga.
Oh my god, a dirty 30 in New York would be sick.
Dude, it's not like it's obviously not common, but like it's not unheard of. Like they did a tournament before our season opens because you can't have bass in the live well out of season. So they had a couple tournaments on Cayuga, and what they did is essentially it was your heaviest 5 fish, but they did MLF style, so you'd weigh them on the boat and then release them. But your best 5 counted, and it took I think for both of them it took 30 pounds just to get third.
No way.
They're just giants, and when you find a school of them, it's all 5s to 7s.
Just freaking rocket ships.
Oh, dude, you're just getting blasted. It's unreal. And what's cool too is there's a railroad that's up in the north end that you can fish on too. That everyone knows about it, but like it doesn't matter because those fish reload so fast. So if you just want to go out and whack 20 pounds, 25 pounds easy, you just go up there and you'll run into a couple of 5s pretty easy.
That's so sick, dude. And like for dudes down south, like obviously they have giant largemouth and stuff like that. But like for anybody who's never really smacked 4-5+ pound smallmouth, it's freaking so cool.
Oh, dude, it's nuts. Like I saw a poll in one of the one of these Facebook groups the other day, and it was like, would you rather what was it? Would you rather catch a big bag of smallmouth or largemouth? And I think I said largemouth just because like in New York or even for if you're like in Mille Lacs, we have the Great Lakes too, and 25 pounds of smallmouth I think is way easier to come by than 30 pounds of largemouth.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, you get those on those schools of smallmouth. I mean, if you get it in front of their face, they're 9 times out of 10 they're going to eat it. Where largemouth a little bit more picky.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so sick, dude.
Yeah. So let me ask you. When did you? One of my favorite segments that you do with your YouTube channel was one of them I want to get to later was the one series, but also your Tuesday nighters, the tournament Tuesdays.
Yes, dude.
Yes. Yeah. When did that start? The actual tournaments themselves, not just the videos.
So the actual tourney Tuesdays and so they're growing up when I was 14, 15, 16, I was obviously starting to get into tournament bass fishing and doing a couple little high school deals, and then I'd jump in a Wednesday nighter here or there, and then my good buddy Adam and Brock, we would just kind of all switch like it is in the videos now. We'd all just kind of switch off and do small little weekday tournaments either on Sunday mornings. We had these one Sunday morning tournaments called Bass Pursuits that were from 7 a.m. to noon, very short tournament, not an all day deal. And we do those, and then we do Tuesday or Wednesday nighters, and we just kept doing those when we were 15, 16, 17, out of my buddy's red Lund boat, and then out of my old Bass Tracker, and then out of an old little aluminum boat. We just kept doing those, and those are some of the best memories in my entire life. Those are everything because they're kind of around your home area, so all those lakes, and that's what you would consider your stomping grounds, you know what I mean? And that's personal, you know what I mean? Every one of those lakes you go out to, you're I know this lake better than these dudes. I don't even care if I'm in a 16-foot red Lund boat. I'm gonna dust some old guys right now. And then sometimes you just get your butt absolutely beat. And then other times, you're the hero, and it's just, I don't know, it's extremely competitive, yet extremely laid back. And then, this year, when obviously we started going really hard in the videos, my buddy Adam was we need to do Tourney Tuesday, and we need to capture it all. And Brock's I'm down, and I'm boys, absolutely. And it kind of turned into, a staple video series on my channel, which I didn't even really intend that to happen. I was fired up to be back home and do Tourney Tuesdays again, and if I do Tourney Tuesdays till the day I die, I'll die a happy man.
Dude, I always look forward to those.
Right?
Just because I just love the tournament scene in general. So when I can watch those and watch you and Adam and kind of how you strategize, because they're quick tournaments. The time frame you have. So strategy is key. You don't have time to make adjustments like you do in a day tournament.
It is you got to catch them fast, and if you don't catch them, you got to throw your plan out quick and scrap something up, because it's what is Tourney Tuesday again? Do they start at 5 or 5:30 and they go to 8:30 or 9? You don't have much time to put together 5 fish.
Nope.
And it sounds like you fish a weekly tournament too. So I feel the relatability factor is huge, because there's a lot of dudes out there that are into bass fishing, and there's a lot of dudes that fish local clubs, and I know they feel the same way I do. You know what I mean? These are your home lakes. This is your stomping grounds.
Oh yeah. The ones that we have one here in New York that I fished a bunch of them. I didn't do too well, but it was one of those things where my buddy and I we stopped fishing them completely, just because it kind of got sketchy, where these two guys would always trade winning each week, and they were the only two guys that were already on the water before anybody got there. And they didn't do live well checks, which I thought was kind of interesting. But it was it kind of got skeptical, and people started calling people out, and it's not my scene to be in anymore. Yeah. So it's just stuck to fun fishing and kept my $30 a week.
Well, dude, you need to, whether it be you or one of your buddies or somebody, you guys need to start it up again, and maybe start up your own club, because I feel it wouldn't take too much. Start a small Facebook group, get a scale, a decent one from Cabela's or something like that, and put together a 15-boat club team tournament, run it.
Yeah, that's one of the things it's interesting, because you got a lot of different attitudes and mentalities out there. So it's kind of to create it. One, need the money, and I'm a broke college kid, but it's definitely not something I wouldn't not start. But it's just dealing with some of the people that you have around here. It's a lot of different mentalities clashing into one.
Totally. And I can like, dude, I can see that being in New York too. Like, I know you're upstate New York, but like, still, you dudes from New York, like, you just fired up, and I think
Oh
that's
my
badass.
gosh.
But like, I could see where people could get hotheads, especially bass fishermen from New York. Like,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I could see it getting intense. It
Oh,
gets intense around here.
yeah, dude. Honestly, there's been many days where I've been out, and I usually try to avoid all of the chaos of arguments and stuff like that. Like I give people their space when I'm out, and but dude, I could not tell you how many times in the water where I have heard people shouting and yelling at each other and talking trash, and it's just it's one of those things. Like, yep, good old New York.
That's hilarious. That's awesome, though.
Yeah, but one thing I want to ask you too, dude, is I noticed because you kind of like dropped a little announcement on it, and then you posted the tournament. You did a little co-angler action recently.
Yes, dude. Yes, and like they're so spread out, and so yeah, I'm fired up about it. But yeah, this year I'm going to be doing all the Easterns, the Bassmaster Eastern Opens as a co-angler, and I'm going to kind of be traveling with my two good buddies, and I'm going to kind of capture all that. And I'm really pumped for it. I've never fished any of the Opens as a co-angler or a pro, so just to kind of hop in that scene and do that and kind of capture that, I'm really pumped for it. Like, I fished college bass fishing, and obviously that was through like FLW and Bassmaster, so to kind of play around again back with Bassmaster it's awesome. I'm really, really excited for it.
You should be, man. Well, talk a little bit. What was it like? Was that your first Open?
Yeah, that was my first Open, and that was really my first time being a co-angler. Like, I've only ever really fished team tournaments before that, or fished like a couple individual tournaments, like just myself, like where I'm driving. So I've never like fished with somebody in the boat, and we've not like been on the same team. Like, obviously we're still rooting for each other. Like, I had great pros both days, but like it's kind of weird because at the end of the day, like, you're not like a team, like you're rooting for each other, but you're not a team. So it's a different dynamic. It's a different challenge. And I'm kind of excited to like do my next one and kind of see where it goes.
Oh, yeah. So you're doing all four of the Eastern?
Yes. Yeah. I think our next one is Cherokee. And then I'd have to look at the schedule. I forget where we go after that.
I got it up right here.
New York.
Yeah, I got it up right here. You're coming to Oneida, man. You're coming to my backyard.
Yes, bro. You better come.
That's the plan. Are you allowed to take? Are you allowed to practice with anybody, or what's the deal there?
Yes, I think I can. We should hop in the boat together.
Oh, 100%, man. I got some buddies that are fishing that. There's gonna be a lot of local hammers there. I will warn you. But at least you won't have to deal with them because you're the co-angler.
I'd love to hop in the boat with you in Oneida. We're gonna make that happen.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Dude, those fish in August, that's gonna be really interesting because like I told you, it's gonna be they're gonna be just schools of just they're gonna be wolf packs traveling around. That's one of those things, especially in August on Oneida. They just move around constantly. They're never in the same spot. So that's why if you're winning on day one in August in New York, that doesn't mean you're gonna win it.
Yeah, totally. And the one thing I think I'm pumped about for Oneida, especially as a co-angler, is it's like I feel like obviously smallmouth and just the way it might set up, it'd be easier to compete as a co-angler opposed to like if it was just like punching mats in Florida, where like you're probably getting backseated most of the day. In Oneida, I feel like, dude, if you're fishing a piece of structure and you're in the boat, you are at no way at a disadvantage. So.
Oh man, Oneida is a blast because especially if you get a boater that hits the shoals, it's not going to matter where you are in the boat. Those shoals, they cruise all over it all day long. But it'd be interesting because you can win on largemouth there if you can find them.
That's sick.
There's largemouth in a very small piece of the lake, so it's pretty much first come first serve. But it's kind of weird how that lake sets up, and we could talk about that, more later. It's a pretty interesting lake how it works. But
what do you think it'd take a day?
A day on Oneida?
A boater for 5.
A boater for 5, 16 a day.
16? Okay, that's cool. That's a good bet.
I would say it's a safe bet, 16. It's probably all going to be smallmouth, but I wouldn't be shocked if they can find a consistent bite if they got an all largemouth.
Totally.
Another one other body of water it doesn't relate to Bassmaster, but Major League Fishing going up to the river.
Yeah,
I would not be surprised to see the winner come out of there with largemouth.
dude, that'd be hardcore if somebody just dropped some serious weight and they went
There,
all the way to the river.
dude, there is a huge population of 3 to 5 pound largemouth up in St. Lawrence.
Dang,
I don't know if
that's not,
if you watched the St. Lawrence River with Bassmasters last year, Hunter Shryack
yeah.
came. Hunter Shryack came and weighed in 22 pounds of largemouth, and they were all like, "Which lake did you go to? Like, did you go to the river? Like,
Right. He kind of jump fished like his individual videos. Like he just kind of junk fished docks and stuff, and kind of just he had a little smallmouth deal going, but he just played it by ear and fished the way he fished docks, and it was cool.
yeah, yeah." One thing that was cool that he said is because they were asking him, why'd you go for largemouth, and he's just like, "Well, I was going around trying to fish for smallmouth, and I just didn't feel comfortable, so I had to go back to what I feel comfortable doing." And then he dropped 22 pounds of a species that you rarely ever see on the river.
That's so weird, dude. That's so cool.
I mean, talk about playing your confidence, though. I mean, that's the epitome right there.
Right? And I feel like that's one cool thing with tournament angling. Like you go to a different place or a different state, and you think like, oh man, like I've never fished here. I'm outmatched. There's local hammers, but it's like, dude, just go fish the way you like to fish. Fish your stuff and hammer down. Put your head down and catch five. And like it definitely panned out for him that way. That's why I think it's so cool with such a large field of Bassmaster, and they all have different styles. Like that's why it's fun to watch Bass Live and stuff like that.
Oh, dude, 100%. And it's one of those things where I was talking to Adam Wee the other night. He's another opens guy, and we were talking about you when it comes to tournament time, you play your confidence. If you want to try something new, you don't do that in a tournament. You do that on your fun fishing time.
Right?
And so many people kind of think that they have to be well versed in every single avenue of fishing, but you look at one of the biggest examples we brought up was like John Cox. He hates fishing
Yeah.
deep. He refuses to, and he's still one of the best there is.
Isn't that crazy? Like he truly has like etched that mark in like, bro, if you like to fish this way and you're good at it, go do it. And he proved that without even having front graphs on his boat, just like I'm just gonna go fishing and catch them.
Yeah.
He did. He does everywhere.
Yeah, it was like when he won Chickamauga, they were like, "Yeah, it's gonna be one deep, 100%. Like you can't win this shallow over 3-4 days." And he's like, "Watch me."
Yeah, he's like, yeah, watch me. He's like, oh, okay, that's cool. That's fine. I'll just do it.
Just walks up on stage, drops the mic. That is all.
He's a beast, bro. He's such a beast.
100%, man. So what's the plan then for with these? Being a co-angler with the opens, do you have a destination in mind, or are you just kind of doing it for fun?
To be honest, like I'd like to kind of get a feel for it as a co and play around, but I'd like to enter it as a pro in the future, 100%. Like that's on the table. I'd love to do that. I'd love to capture the whole thing too. Obviously, I know there's been people that have kind of done that before. They've kind of fished them and captured somebody like a hunter, but I don't know. I feel like they haven't. I feel like they haven't captured it totally, even especially from the co-angler side. Like I feel like that story hasn't been told. So I'd love to do it. I'd love to capture it, and I'd love to share it. So I'm really excited about it all.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. I mean, somebody of your skill set, not only in the fishing world, but also with the filming and photography, that whole deal. I think the only person who's come close to it right now is, and just had their first tournament. Scott Martin. I think he's the only one that's going to have, at the moment at least, a full kind of exclusive into how that tournament runs. And I think you take your skill set and puts you in that position, it could be an incredible video.
Thank you for saying that, dude. I appreciate that. And obviously, like, besides the tournament, or just, I guess, besides catching the 5 fish where you are every day, like, there's so much other stuff, obviously, that you know and a bunch of other people know that go on during these tournaments or different things like that, that it's like, that's never shown. You know what I mean? Like, and one thing I'm gonna bring up is like my first open, which was in Florida. Like my second day, I got paired with a guy named Daisuke Kita, and dude, it like this is a story in itself, and I did not do a good job capturing it. Like Daisuke spoke zero English. I'm talking zero.
Wow.
So like everything from like getting paired with him to hopping in the boat with him to fishing with him, like there was such a language barrier, yet we were like on the same page communicating, and it was like we were laughing the whole day. It was freaking hilarious. It was awesome.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah, it was so crazy. Like right away I got paired with him, and like you get each other's phone numbers and you like text each other like, all right, I'll meet you at the ramp at 5:30. And like I got paired with him. I texted him and said, hey, how's it going, Daisuke? My name is Sam. Is there a specific time you'd like me at the ramp? Is there a specific portion of the ramp that you're going to back in at? And he just like replies with like a very generic text and a picture. And I'm like, okay. And then the next morning, like tournament morning, he starts texting me like no words, just pictures. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like he doesn't speak English. Like, okay, I put everything together. I was like, okay, I see your pictures. I'm matching everything up, and we found each other and we made it work. So like, I mean, I give a huge shout out for him to come and like fish the Bassmaster Opens and barely speak the language and to like compete and like to do that over in Japan. Like, I feel like I'd be so lost, but obviously doing it here and he's doing just fine. So that was a crazy story, and I wish I would have captured better.
Oh, dude, he was definitely getting you on that Google Translate.
Right? 100%.
That's incredible, though, because, like, that's a testament to just, chasing a passion, chasing a dream, Like, he's a living proof right there. And then there's a few other guys in the pros that are a living testament of that as well. It's
totally.
One thing that's kind of cool, though, cool for you is, you were so cool about that, where there's probably a lot of people that wouldn't have handled that very well.
Yeah, and it was like, I was pumped for it. I was like, heck yes, it's a new experience. Let's dive into this. He was super friendly right away, and I was like, dude, we're going to have a great day. And it was a great day.
That's awesome. Yeah, if you can, anytime you can walk away from, the ramp, whether you whacked them or you skunked them, if you have a smile on your face, that's all that matters.
Right? It was so cool. Like, at the end of the day, like, he opened up his boxes, and like everything I do and everything he does, we kind of like we're like slow reaction because I don't know exactly what he's doing and he doesn't know exactly what I'm doing because like we can't talk about it obviously.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he gave me like 5 of these Japanese crankbaits that he makes himself. What? And he was just like so. Oh, it's so nice to meet you, Sam. Like, you did for you. And I was like, no, you do not have to do that. You do not. Thank you so much, Daisuke. And he's like, no, for you. You are so nice for you. And I was like, dude, that is so sick. Like, to get some Japanese baits and create a new memory with a new dude like that, like, it was awesome.
Oh, dude, does he have social media?
Yeah, dude, he does. He's, like, pretty active on social media, too. So, like, I followed him. And actually on Instagram, there's, like, a C translation button, which is insane as this. So every one of his posts is like, wicked Japanese symbols. And like, I found this out the night before. I was like creeping on him. I was like, of course, I was like, who is this guy? So I creeped on him. I'm like, oh my gosh. And his whole Instagram is just like a bunch of wicked symbols. And you hit C translation and you can like see exactly what he's saying in English. And it's pretty cool.
We're going to have to, offline here, we're going to have to get his handle so we can put it in the description for everybody.
Yes. Daisuke Kita. I'll definitely shoot it to you.
Heck yeah. That's going to be sick. I'm going to have to check him out. Oh, that's so cool, dude.
He's competing in Japan right now. Like, I think he's got a boat in the U.S. and a boat in Japan, and he's competing all over.
Man's living lavish.
Yeah, he is.
Getting some Lake Biwa action, getting some Chickamauga action, All right, I see you. But,
he's a stud.
So what is, we're coming up on almost 45 minutes here. I don't want to keep you for too long tonight, but I'm curious, when you look at your life, 5-10 years from now that you have this YouTube thing that's growing for you, you're now joining the Open as a co-angler, and you want to see where that goes. Where do you see yourself in so let's say 5 years?
That's crazy, and that's a crazy action. Like question asked. Like I ask myself that all the time. Like everything moves so fast with like media and social media, and everything's moved so fast for myself over the past like 2-3 years that like to know exactly where I'm going to be or even have an idea, like I don't know the answer to that question. What I would like to be doing is just doing the same thing I'm doing, just potentially at a higher level. Like I'd like to be keep competing in bigger tournaments. Like I told you, I'd like to be doing more series that are meaningful, that not only highlight myself, but other anglers and their skill sets. At the end of the day, like if I'm just fishing and filming and making content, putting it up there and people are enjoying it, like that's A1 to me. That would be a dream come true if I'm doing basically what I'm doing just at a higher level in like 5 years.
That's incredible. I hope you achieve that. I mean, that's pretty awesome that you're at the point and you're this young where it's like you love what you do that much that all you want to do is just become better at it. Take it to another level.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate that.
Of course. Is a testament to a lot of other people too. Thank you, because like honestly, your stuff, fuels a lot of other people to create their channels. Like I'm sure you've seen it in your comments of people saying, like I created a channel and I started doing this, started fishing this and that because of, the stuff that you post.
Totally. And I get that question a lot. Like, I bought a GoPro. I'm thinking about starting a channel. Should I? Or how do I start a channel? Or should I? Is it worth it? And like, dude, anybody that says that to me, I'm always like, yes, do it. Yes. Not if you're trying to do it for a living. Not if you're trying to create epic content. Like, if you have a GoPro or even an iPhone, like, and you have any sort of interest at all in capturing your adventures, fishing, hunting, outdoors, or with buddies, do it and post it to YouTube, even if it's for no one else but yourself. Because, like, dude, in 5 years, it's going to be incredible to look back and, like, kind of relive those experiences. Because, like anything, you go out fishing, you have a good time, maybe you get a picture out of it, and, like, you remember it, but you don't really remember everything that went down. But when you have video of it, of whether it be just dicking around with your buddies or something crazy you caught, like, to have a platform you can post to for free and to go back and watch it like tomorrow, the next day, a year from now, like that's incredible. So for anybody that has a phone or a GoPro that wants to start a channel, I would be like, dude, start it, post it. You'll never regret it. 100%.
Oh yeah, dude. That's so many people do. I do that myself. I post it just to go back and watch it again, and not just to relive it. But for me, I started it because of I wanted to use it as sort of a diary where I can look back and be like, okay, these patterns worked in these conditions.
Right?
Just because I'm lazy and I don't want to write everything down in a journal. So I was like, okay, GoPro is probably easier. But like, the one thing, because I've had a few people ask me the same question, and it's basically what I tell them is like, yeah, definitely do it. But like the biggest thing is like, when it feels like a chore, don't do it. Be passionate about it. If you're passionate about it, do it. But if you're not, then, it's kind of taking the fun out of fishing. If you're just wasting time, with a camera. If you're passionate about it, then 100% do it.
Totally. And like, I think about this all the time, like even, and there's a lot of negativity around like, whether it be social media or stuff like that. And I do think there's a balance in life you should have, but like, I think Facebook and Instagram and YouTube are so cool in the sheer fact that you can look back and see what you were doing 2 years from now, or the fish you were catching, or how you're fishing, or what you were wearing, or the buddies you were hanging with. Like, that's so crazy. Like, my grandpa fished his whole life, and I've seen one picture of him holding a pike, like spearing, like from way back in the day. And I love that picture. That's so cool. Like, I think that's so sweet to check out what my grandpa looked like when he was 19 years old, going spearing with his buddies. Like, if I had a whole Instagram feed to scroll through with my grandpa's, or a Facebook page or a YouTube channel, like, that would be so sick.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know, just to do it like that, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's nuts. Just it's crazy to think about.
Right? Like your kids and your grandkids, Bailey, like they're gonna be able to go back and listen to you do these podcasts that you did, and they're gonna be like, holy smokes, like that's awesome. That's my grandpa.
Imagine how much more history we would have known if they had Facebook and Instagram back in the day.
Right?
Picture like a Hitler's Instagram, like he's going live while he's destroying the world.
That would be ridiculous. Like, things were bad today. Thinking about committing suicide.
Oh shit! They caught me. This is the end.
That'd be hilarious.
Puts things in perspective. But
Right.
let me ask you this, dude, because I'm curious. You mentioned that Minnesota, where you live, has essentially 4 seasons.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Oh, dude, that's such a tough question. Like,
Dropping
I'm
bombs
definitely
on
gonna
you.
answer it like, oh, I'm gonna answer it summertime. Like summertime, Minnesota is my favorite. Bass fishing is definitely my favorite, and I actually enjoy fishing deep the most. So like fishing deep rocks, fishing deep weeds, fishing slow for bass is probably my favorite. But like at the same token, I love spring fishing and I love fall fishing. I love like when the leaves turn colors and he starts smoking smallies and largies on moving baits. It just gets weird and crazy and awesome. And at the same token too, I love early ice. Like I love chasing big crappies early ice. So that's tough. I enjoy them all. They're all different, but if I had to pick one, it'd probably just be straight up like July, Minnesota, or late July.
I like it. I like it. Are we going to see a continuation of the one series?
Um, did you ask Adam this question?
I think I might have.
What did he say?
I'm trying to recall. I know he reposted something to his YouTube, and that was like your intro to it. Not his YouTube,
Yeah.
his Instagram.
I will. I've told no one this, and I will tell no one this besides this podcast. There will be another The One series. You might not see it this fall, but just know it's happening, and it's going to be way bigger, way badder, and insane. It's going to be a giant, giant production. It's going to be a really big deal. I've been kind of working on it with Adam and a couple other buddies, and we're kind of planning and formulating a large production behind it, and it's going to be really big. It's going to be really, really big.
Oh man, you got me hyped, but now I'm like annoyed because I have to wait.
I know, dude, and like beyond this podcast, I'm not speaking on that. So if anybody says, "Is there going to be another one series?" I'm just going to be like, I don't know.
Who knows? You just no
Right
announcement,
now.
nothing whatsoever. Just drops it on YouTube, says nothing.
Right, but there will be. There will be.
That's awesome. Sweet. I'm excited. I always loved the one series because like you always like guide it in a way where you didn't know if you guys were actually going to catch them or not, and it's like
Yeah.
so it's like you're going there with anticipation, like, oh, is this it? Is this the one? Are they going to do it?
Right, and that's like obviously I put a lot of thought and time behind like the production end of it and the story end of it, but I really and people always say like, are you storyboarding stuff out, or is this like how far ahead do you go in the production process, or like what's I guess how do you structure out this whole series? And I'm like, the structure of this series was really just how it went down, and that's exactly how I wanted it to be. You know what I mean? We really went out there. I don't know if we're gonna do this. I don't know if we're gonna get this. We've never fished these lakes, and I just tried to capture it as purely as it happened, and that's what I captured, and that's what went down. So, and that's what I think the beauty is behind YouTube, and not just like normal television. Is like we're just capturing this as it goes down, whether it's good or bad or ugly or awesome or beautiful. Like this is what happens, and that's what I caught on camera.
It's awesome, dude. I'm excited for it. I can't wait.
It's
But
gonna be sick. I would love to come out to New York and potentially hunt for it. That would be cool.
what's the goals? What, over 7?
It was 7, but I think I'd like to almost have like 2 goals, like a goal that you think is just almost unachievable, like potentially a 7, and then like another goal like being your personal best.
Okay. What's your PB?
My PB Smalley, I think it's like 6'3" or 6'4".
Okay.
So it's not
Sheesh.
even it's not even 6.5.
Okay. I mean, you could go out on Erie or Ontario and break that within a week or two. I mean, I can't guarantee in a day, but you could
Right.
definitely break. I mean, yeah, guys are catching mid-7s a bunch last season.
Isn't that dude? That's crazy to me, and that's not just crazy to me. That's crazy to everybody. Like
Oh yeah.
mid-7 smallmouth come and happen nowhere but except like where you are.
Yeah, I mean, you can go down to like Dale Hollow and go after another world record.
Yeah.
Those things at 11-pound smallmouth, I couldn't even imagine.
no, that like I don't even know what that looks like. I can't even fathom that.
But so YouTube aside, maybe not aside, but you said that you have some plans for YouTube, and then you have the Opens coming up. Are there any other plans for 2020 that you're allowed to announce?
I don't think I'm going to announce anything specific because I try to keep it under wraps. Like I don't tell my girlfriend, my parents, my buddies, anything what's going down because I kind of want it to be a surprise. But I just know 2020, I'm going to be hitting the lake harder. I'm going to be filming harder than ever. Hopefully with a lot more new and creative people too that are just fired up to get after it like me. And I'm going to bring the fire to YouTube.
Heck, I am. Yeah, dude. I can't wait.
I'm going to bring the fire. It's going to be good.
100%, man. I'm hyped. Let's go, dude.
I know, dude. I'm hyped, too. Thank you so much.
I can hear it in your voice. You sound like you're getting chills already.
I know.
Yeah, get that boat loaded up. Head to New York, man.
Right, dude, the bite's right? On. Put a couple podcasts on and make that 16-hour drive. Like,
there you go. I'll tell you right now, my buddy went out today and out on I won't announce it just because he likes to keep his stuff private, but on a very popular body of water here in New York, and got on 96 bass today and had over 20 pounds easy.
Stop it, dude. You can't even take it out.
And the best part about it was all on a jerkbait.
Stop it. Stop it. Okay. See, like, this goes back to what you asked, like, what do you like about the Four Seasons? And, like, there is something extremely special about getting on just a nappy, dirty jerkbait bite in the spring.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
So sick, dude.
I can't. I'm going in the morning, so I hope I have the same thing.
That's so sick. Was he in his kayak?
No, he's on a boat. I'll be in my kayak, though, tomorrow.
That's sick. What kind of kayak do you have?
I have a Wilderness Systems Radar 135, so it's a pedal drive.
And you like it? You like...
I like
you're much more experienced kayak fisherman than me, so like, kind of give me the rundown of your kayak quick, if you have time.
Yeah. So it's like a 13.5 foot. It's a pedal drive. It's got decent storage, pretty comfy seat. The only thing I would change on it is just a bigger front end, just so I can have a little bit more leg room.
Okay.
Just because I like it a little bit wider. It is kind of on the skinnier side. But overall, I mean, the thing flies. It tracks well. It does the job. Like I can put I can put 6 to 8 rods on it. I can bring, my crate that I have with me is all decked out. It's really about personalization. What you can do to organize things.
Totally.
But yeah, I like it overall because it's on the cheaper side for a pedal drive. It's not like the Hobies now where they're like $4 or $5 grand. But just deck space for me is probably the only drawback I have.
And say the name of it again. It's a Wilderness
Systems. It's the model is the Radar 135.
Okay, nice. I'll remember that.
Yeah, I can shoot you some photos and stuff how I rig it up later.
Definitely, dude. Because like I'm addicted to kayak fishing. I think it's awesome, and I'm still getting into it myself. But to get a semi-affordable kayak that is still like kind of good that's like my goal right now. Like that'd be really cool.
Oh yeah, dude, 100%. I can show you some different models and stuff if you're interested and point you in the right direction of what's that's new and up and coming.
Totally.
Yeah, we'll get into it, man. But I don't want to keep you for too long, so we're gonna do our little last segment here, which I like to do with everybody who comes on, and I got 2 questions to cap off the podcast. Are you ready?
Yes, absolutely. Fire away. Okay.
Question numero uno is if you could invite any 3 people to dinner to sit down and pick their brain, who would they be and why?
Oh my gosh. Do they have to be fishing people or they could be anybody?
Anybody, past or present, doesn't have to be fishing industry.
Oh, man. Oh. Oh my goodness. Okay. Wow.
It's tough.
Maybe, okay, this kind of touches close to home to you. I think one person I'd invite to dinner would potentially be Mike Iaconelli.
Okay.
I think He's crazy. He's wild. He's out there. He's been in the tournament game so long. He's seen so much. He's got his fingers in so much. He's an amazing angler. He's amazing at marketing, amazing with his brand, amazing at just kind of everything he does and touches. So to have a dinner with him and just kind of see how he's seen the industry change and how he's adapted so well to it, I'd love to have dinner with him. He's person number one.
Okay, I like it.
Anybody. Oh, person number two.
Yeah, like a childhood hero, somebody you looked up to growing up, kind of deal.
Dang. That's tough, dude. Like, I'm thinking, like, I'm trying to think past fishing. Like, my mind is so on fishing right now. Do we have time on the podcast to give me a solid 10 seconds? Let me just think.
If you got time, I got time.
Yes, okay. Give me 10 seconds. So, everybody who's listening right now, I just want you to just sit back, take a drink or a bite of whatever you're eating right now, and just give me 10 seconds to think.
I'll cue the Jeopardy music.
Okay. I have the two other people.
Okay.
It might not be what I think in an hour from now, because I know an hour from now I'm just going to be chilling and be like, should have definitely had dinner with him.
It happens every single time.
Right? Okay, so two people. Person number one, after Mike Iaconelli, it would be an athlete named Joe Nathan. He was like a closing pitcher for the Minnesota Twins.
Oh, yeah.
He was super intense. If any of you guys are into baseball out there, maybe you know him. I don't know. He was just like, growing up, I loved watching him, and he was so intense. And it seemed like he was so in the zone and focused when he was actually out there on the mound that, like, I don't know, it captivated me. And, like, whether I'm filming or fishing, I really, like, I try to kind of tunnel zone and really get in the zone like Joe. So to have dinner with him and be like, just kind of pick his brain on, dude, like, what separates you from practice to in the game it'd be an awesome conversation to have. So I think I'd have it with him.
I like that.
And last person I think I'd have to dinner would be an author. His name is Gary Parsons, I think, or Parsons. He wrote, like, The Hatchet.
Okay.
He wrote a bunch of different other books. They're all, like, wilderness books, everything from, like, survival, some fiction, some nonfiction, and he was an incredible author. I grew up kind of reading him. I'm not, like, a huge reader, by the way, guys. Like, dude, I do video. Like, I read never. I can barely read. So to have dinner with an author, like, you know, like, I definitely read his books and enjoyed him. So to have dinner with him, that'd be my third person, I think.
I like that. I think that's the second author I've ever had on this podcast. And I ask that question every time. I think Mark Twain is the other one that somebody's mentioned.
Mark Twain would be amazing to have dinner with, too.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool. I think the person who has been mentioned the most is either Kevin Van Dam or Teddy Roosevelt.
Dude, Teddy Roosevelt's an incredible individual.
It would be nuts to pick his brain. Talk about the ultimate outdoorsman.
Totally, man. Like, created, like, parks, you know what I mean? He created public lands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he'd be crazy. Has anybody ever asked you the question, like, right back at you, like, who would you have dinner with?
A few times people have asked that, yeah.
Has it changed, or is it the same?
It always changes, dude. All the time.
Okay, fire him off. Fire him off real quick.
Oh, God. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm gonna have to say first one, Paul Walker. I've been on a Fast and Furious grind, and I would have loved to just pick his brain a little bit before, the crash.
Totally. Like, dude, he's an icon.
Oh, 100%. So I think he would be cool to talk to, just because, like, he actually, like, outside of the movies, he actually was into racing.
Yeah.
So he's
absolutely.
Like no fear of death. So it'd be kind of interesting to see his mentality. I'm trying to think. Oh, crap.
And don't answer how you've answered in the past. Answer, like, who you would legit invite to dinner right now.
Okay. Let me trying to think. There's
He was
what is his
pretty
name?
again.
What is his name? Crap.
Explain who he is.
Oh, he's the he's one of the Medal of Honor winners. Actually, he was on Lunker's TV's videos. His name's on the tip of my tongue. I follow him on social media.
Dude. I've been hunting and fishing with this dude.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm pulling up Instagram right now. Why can I not think of him?
Yeah, I can't think of him either. But I would love to talk to him.
Oh, dude. He's a super cool dude.
It's like his Instagram posts, and I will listen to his podcast he did with Joe Rogan, and it literally changes your perspective on life.
Are you talking about Dakota Meyer?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
He's the man. Not only a certified badass, but like like the way, like one thing that kind of, I mean, there are so many different facets where he kind of impacted, how my viewpoints are with things, but like how him and his ex-wife are like still in each other's lives every day just because they acknowledge that, war changed him and he just wasn't the same guy, and obviously like doing certain things that are better for each other, but also still doing stuff, that's good for their kids. Like just like the personal sacrifices they make and like being able to be human and accept certain things and not just be petty. It's like
totally.
It kind of gives you like a reinstatement of humanity.
Totally, dude. Going to dinner with any Medal of Honor winner would be like top notch. And to say he's a certified badass would be like probably an understatement. He is definitely a certified badass. 100%.
Yeah, no, easily 100%. And I guess I'll do a fishing one then. Honestly, I would love to talk to Gary Yamamoto.
Dude, right?
That would be cool.
Talk about a guy who's seen all facets of the industry.
Yeah.
And changed it, too, himself. Yeah. Like, he's changed the industry.
Literally. I mean, the one bait that literally everyone has rigged up on their boat during a tournament.
And it will literally catch bass everywhere. Like, you could create the dopest bait ever, and you could definitely find a state or a lake that it wouldn't work. But, like, you could not throw a Gary Yamamoto Senko anywhere and not get bit. You know what I mean? If you throw it long enough. Yeah,
I think a testament to that, too, is just how versatile it is. You can do anything with it.
Right? Like, talk about a bait that truly changed bass fishing. That is.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, that'd be my 3.
That'd be a super good pick. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I like that. I'm proud of myself for picking that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm rethinking my life choices now after hearing your 3. I'm like, I need to get new friends. I need to invite better people to dinner.
Taking shots at Adam right now. That's funny. You're probably going to get a text from him as soon as he listens to this. That's funny.
Right. How come you didn't invite me to dinner?
Yeah, right? That's funny. No. All right, man.
Bailey, thank you so much for having me on here, and thank you everybody that listens. And seriously, thank you. There's not enough people out there right now doing podcasts that are kind of revolved around the outdoor industry and fishing in general. So for you to have one and not only just have it, but to stick with it so hard and get such a diverse group of people on here all the time, like it's awesome content. Seriously, it is. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Of course, and thank you. You're busy as all hell, so I appreciate you taking the time to come on here and talk to me.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah, I think myself aside, there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna appreciate just you speaking and listening to you and taking things you say. People take your stuff with a lot of credibility, so it's it's not just myself that's thankful. So I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, dude.
Of course. Well, man, hopefully we'll. I want to do a Minnesota podcast. I've been joking with Rich and Adam down the road, and like Chad Smith, and having you guys on and talking about having the Minnesota boys. So if that's something you're interested in, we should definitely set that up.
Dude, absolutely, no jokes. Let's get it dialed in. Let's do it. I'm always game.
All right, man. Sweet. Well, I hope you guys get some open water soon. Hope you guys can actually get out and get on some fish. So, all right, man, you stay safe. You get on some fish. Hopefully weather gets warmer for you, and appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again, Bailey. It's the night.
All right, man. You take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Well, that was a blast. That was so awesome to get Sam on here. He's been somebody that I've personally, and I know I can speak for a lot of people that have watched his channel pretty much from the one of the beginning. When he was real small. Like subscriber wise, and somebody who I've enjoyed watching. I've learned from. Who's somebody I've looked up to because not only is he good at what he does and his talents, but he is a very good person on and off the lake. That's people. He's a great angler. He's very talented, but he's also a good human, and that's one thing I really appreciate about him and his content. So, if you guys aren't already, if you're not already, you probably live under a rock. But go down to the description below and follow him on YouTube and Instagram and everything that we mentioned earlier. You need to go subscribe and follow to his social media. You will not regret it. And I can't remember the name of the guy because I don't think I can pronounce it. So apologies to you if you're listening. The boater for Sam down in Florida that he mentioned, we talked about Dice. I can't remember the last. His page will be linked down below. Go follow him too, because I'm about to go hop on the phone and try to find him and go follow his stuff as well. And yeah, if you guys want to keep listening to these, you can find us on YouTube here. So subscribe to Egbert Outdoors, as well as you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Anchor app, the Angler app, pretty much everything. So appreciate you guys listening, for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.